So excited. One of our guests will be Devon Mann, who was actually here on Friday, and we had a couple of technical difficulties, so I dared not just move on to another subject without getting his expertise and also giving the young ladies an opportunity to chat with him a little bit further. So Devon Mann is a great asset to the city of Detroit and any city that he works in, right? But I really wanted him to come on today and talk to a couple of young people. One, my daughter Victoria and Anaya, who is in California. We are in Detroit, and just to talk about SAT prep, college prep. How does youth future look when it comes down to preparing for school, and what are some things they can be doing right now while at home to even think about that future, but to take a little bit of stress and pressure off of it in the future and to prep for it now. So I would love for you to join us every Tuesday as a reminder, from every Tuesday from 4 to 4:45 and every Friday from same time on National Parent Union. And Devon, your camera is twisted. Your camera is sideways. Can you turn the view the other way for me?
Okay. Well, let me try this one.
Yep. And then, yep, there we go. Perfect. Perfecto. There you go. I see you.
Better. Working out. Let me throw it back in the tripod and I'll be ready to roll.
Okay. So thank you all for joining us. So we will get started in just a second. I would love for you to go to your share and make this you share this as a watch party to your own pages, as I am sharing now mine as a watch party. And so let's get this ball going. So thank you, Devon, for joining us again.
Thank you for having me, Bernita, and thank you for providing this platform to talk about some important topics, and let's get this dialogue going.
Yep, and thank you to the National Parent Union also for making this possible for us. So Devon, I kind of gave not even a description. I just said the name and said that you're a wonderful asset to the city of Detroit and to the kids and families of the city of Detroit and whatever other cities you work in. But tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've done or what you do with youth on a normal basis, not right now.
Okay. Yeah, in an ideal setting. Thank you again for having me. Native Detroiter, born and raised here. Went to college here, University of Detroit Mercy, graduate work at Lawrence Tech in Southfield, Michigan. So the furthest I go is a little bit further up the lodge, but Detroit is very important to me, and our youth are naturally very, very important to me. I started working in education probably about 10 or 15 years ago, just actually during the city's recession, the country's recession actually, and it kind of happened by accident, but ended up being one of the greatest things and the greatest blessings to my life, working with youth and watching them change and develop over time. But currently I'm the youth program coordinator. Actually, I take that back. I'm actually the youth program supervisor. I got a promotion earlier today. So,
right.
So thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're actually the first person other than the person that hired me that knows this. My wife doesn't even know. So let's keep that between us.
So we're going to take that back. Take that back.
You're breaking stories, Bernita.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So hopefully she doesn't hear this first before I get a chance to tell her. But no, I'm just extremely blessed for the opportunity. It's going to provide some new challenges, and I look to do a lot of amazing things for the youth. Currently, our focus on in an ideal situation. We focus on tutoring, art therapies, SAT preparation, a host of seasonal activities and summer camps. So a lot of those things naturally are whole with the pandemic that we're dealing with. And I kind of wanted to take this time, not to get off subject, but I wanted to really give my deepest thanks for our first responders. And we say first responders, naturally we think medical profession, but we don't think the people that are working at Walmart that are stocking the shelves so we can get our essentials. We don't think about the postal workers and the UPS people, all these different people that are still going out day in and day out tackling this crazy virus head on, putting themselves at risk day in and day out. So let's give all the true responders, kind of a round of applause, because it's a lot of people. Our medical profession is at the top of the list. My wife is a medical social worker, so she's out there daily, but everybody deserves, all our praise and support, because it's just not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that so much, because my son is an essential worker. He is one of the people who cleans the streets downtown right now. And that is always, people aren't thinking about, the janitors who are cleaning up places, the hospitals, all of those kind of things, right? So thank you. And again, like he said, to our first responders, you are essential. If you are an essential worker and you're out there humping it, if you and you still got to go home to your family. You still got to be bothered with this educating your kids, trying to make sure your kids are okay. Wow. Big ups to you, and thank you for all you're doing. I pray a miracle happens for you at every step that you walk, right? So Devon, you did say something a little bit about art therapy. I wanted to go into that a little bit about art therapy, then the SAT. But I'm going to bring on Victoria and Anaya right quick, because I would love for them to be a part of this conversation, some things that they're doing, because they have some creative, artistic mindsets. Oh my God, these two young ladies are so brilliant, right? One young lady I just literally met, Anaya, and Victoria I'm constantly meeting, who is my own daughter. She lives in the house with me, and I'm constantly meeting her every day. And so she's constantly meeting me. So, yeah, but just talking about art therapy and how that looks for our young people today, and what some things they could possibly do at home to even address some of the stresses, and how art therapy even works. So talk a little bit about art therapy, Devon.
Absolutely. It's one of the cornerstones of our program, and it's sad to say that it's one of the programs that doesn't get enough credit for how effective it's been proven to be. Even in the medical profession, a lot of our therapists, is very, very difficult to get work, especially in Michigan. So a lot of people are going abroad, and we're losing a lot of jobs and a lot of quality workers, because the industry itself is not given the support that it should. But it's an amazing tool. Art therapy, basically, if you're not familiar with, basically is using the arts to address therapeutic topics. So if you're talking about bullying, hazing, anger, grief, everything that everybody goes through on some form, way, shape, or form, using the arts to creatively explore those things. So instead of what my former director, she used to say, draw a mad picture instead of going to punch your little brother. Little things like that. Using the arts to creatively get those emotions that everybody deals with anger, everybody deals with grief, loss, sadness, or whatever it is, but finding a creative way to get those things out instead of acting out or taking actions into your own hands is extremely important, especially in day and age like that, because we're all at home. We have all this extra time. Naturally, it's frustrating. You can't do the things that you used to do. I mean, simple things that we take for granted for going to your local favorite restaurant, sitting in, ordering your favorite dish before you go home from work is not an option right now. Some of the simplest things that we take for granted, I've kind of been taken away due to the quarantine. So using this time to maybe explore some different ways to get those things out. I know it seems kind of juvenile, but me and my wife, we color. Like maybe once or twice a week. We get adult coloring books. You can get them all at 5 and below. You're going to hear a lot of 5 and below shout outs. So don't think I'm endorsing them, but it's just my favorite store because they have all the little essential tools to make your house cool. And I just shop there a lot. But we buy adult coloring books just to take some time off, and we'll sit, play some music in the background, and we'll both color. We did it during Easter, to make our Easter more, normal, because we couldn't be with our family, our extended families. So we really wanted to still have something that we can do. So during the last time we colored, actually was, like I said, during Easter.
That just made Easter Victoria smile a lot.
Yeah. So, just little things like that, whether it be writing, drawing, music, or whatever your art or talent is. This is a good time to take some of this extra time that you've been given and maybe explore some of those things. My son, he's taking piano lessons via Zoom every Wednesday. So you know, tapping into maybe some of your other interests and some of other talents that maybe you didn't even know. And even if you're not that talented in it, just do it to give yourself something extra to do in some way to properly channel all the emotions that people have, because you just sit there with your frustration or your anger, it would consume you, and eventually you'll act out in a way that maybe not be good for you. So just using whatever you have around you to, you know, be creative at the end of the day. That's what you're doing with the show. We're having this dialogue. You're giving me the ability to talk to you, talk to your daughter, learn about these amazing young ladies. And it's going to be a blessing, not only for myself, but for everybody involved.
Yeah. So Victoria, tell us a little bit about some of the art that you've been doing. So I really like, and Anaya also, you're working with DNA. So let me start with Victoria. Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about the art that you're doing.
I've been doing, I did a book with a whole bunch of pictures of my friends. Like I have printed out pictures, as you can see in the back. Those are old pictures, but I used some of the old pictures with my friends, and I made like a book. And it's cardboard. It's not cardstock, but it looks like cardboard. It's just paper. And I added like glitter, and I made each page a theme. I've been doing like nails. I created this thing called Makeup Mondays with my mom, so that either I do her makeup, or like next week she's gonna be doing my makeup, or I'm gonna teach her how to do my makeup, and like I'll answer questions. And I don't know. That's kind of the big. Oh yeah, I've been knitting. Yeah, I've been knitting. I got two. Like I got the really thin yarn, and I got the really thick yarn. So yeah.
So what about you, Anaya?
I've been doing my DNA books where like I read about like DNA molecules or inserting DNAs, chopping them up, or like how like people inherit DNA. And then I have a journal where I write about like how it works. I take notes on them, and that's mostly it.
So I saw some other drawings of yours, though. You're going to be a veterinarian. I saw some artwork of yours. What's up with that, Anaya?
Oh, I just like drawing animals and nature. I'm just into that, and I love drawing wolves and like dogs. That's just like what I do for like a hobby, or like to calm me down and keep me at peace.
I like that. So Devon, I mean, what would y'all, well, let me go back to the girls. What would y'all say to other kids? How has this been helping you during, because you've always been doing this, like Victoria's always been a lot creative. Her room looks like an artist's room. Same thing for you, Anaya. You've always been doing art, but what would you say to other young people out there who need to be doing some art therapy?
Well, I would say to them that like just find a subject in art that you would like probably instruments. Dancing is a form of art. I know that.
Yeah.
You could go outside and draw on the concrete with chalk. You could garden. Gardening is a type of art too. That would keep you calm. Being outside with nature in like the sunlight. That's what I would say. Yeah,
Victoria?
I would say kind of what Devon said a little bit, like you can go to like Dollar Tree, or you can go to Five Below, because I mean everybody colors, like everybody has colored before, so it's obviously fun. And like she said, dance is a art and a exercise also, so you can do that. Be creative. You can watch a dance. You can try to imitate somebody dance, or take dance lessons, or go on somebody dance live, like their Instagram live. You can create by just writing, or whatever. So, or just like this calendar. Like I have a calendar and it's different colors, and so, or different colors for different events, or different colors for different weeks. So maybe that's creative because you use different colors. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you both, and those are excellent inputs and suggestions. One thing that I wanted to add, because this is my form of creativity. See, I respect artists because I could never draw, wasn't that great at music. Now I know good music and I know what good drawings look like, but I could never do them myself. But later on in life, I got into cooking. And that's kind of where I get creative at when it comes to plating and things like that. So I watch a lot of Food Network. I like to try and play with a lot of different things and play with recipes and figure out how to make this taste like that. One of my biggest things I like to do is try to make people like the things that they don't like. So like, let's say Victoria doesn't like mushrooms. Let's say she loves tacos, though. I might try to make a taco out of mushrooms and see if she'll eat it and see if she'll enjoy it. So just whatever you can do to be creative, really, to not only open your mind up, but also get some new ideas and some new things going on, especially since we got all this extra time.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I think her computer died. I think.
Your mom?
Yeah. I know she said she wanted to talk about SAT, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Ask away.
Huh?
I said ask away.
Okay.
If you want to transition to, yeah, we can transition to that. It's not a problem.
Okay. Well, I'll go first since.
Sure.
So I'm a junior in high school, and I had we was actually supposed to be taking SAT last week, I think. Mm-hmm. And so my counselor sent me an email about when we were supposed to be taking it, and it's June. But we didn't have any SAT prep, no SAT prep at all, 2 assignments in 2 separate classes, and that was it. And I was just wondering, like, what kind of resources can people use if they didn't get Khan Academy, or personally, I have like access to those things, but what about people that don't have Wi-Fi or that have like minute phones or like just anything in general, like that don't have access to Khan Academy, especially during quarantine? Yeah,
absolutely. The SAT has been, it's a very unique test. It's an extremely important test, and it can determine a lot of potential outcomes for a lot of potential kids. So it's something that really all high schoolers, regardless whether they be in 11th grade or not, need to take really, really seriously and start preparing themselves for little by little. And I actually would even go to 8th grade, because you take your first version of the SAT in 8th grade. It's called the PSAT 8. So you take one every single year until you are a junior like yourself, and then you take the actual SAT. But the first thing I will say, Victoria, that people can do is really understand the test itself. Understanding the sections, how many questions are going to be asked, how much time that you have. Because all the information that they're testing you on, you've been taught in school, but you've never had to do it under those situations and guidelines. You've never been, your teacher, even though they may say you got 20 minutes on test, she's not sitting behind you with a timer and going off and taking your paper if you're not finished in 20 minutes. You know, that's just not how schools are set up. You've had time tests before, but usually the tests and assignments that you've had aren't, that's not a restriction, where the SAT is all time. You're gonna have a certain amount of time to take these tests, to answer these questions, and if you don't, it's over. So understanding the format and how to take tests, that's how you can really succeed. If, like I said, knowing the test, knowing the exam, and then also knowing yourself as a learner, meaning as you're going to study and now you realize that, okay, the math section has this amount of questions, the reading has this amount of questions, understanding about yourself, well, maybe I'm really strong in math, but maybe not so much reading. Well, I'm going to spend the majority of my study time in reading because that's my weakest subject. I'm going to look at the math and still work on it, but I'm not going to spend all my resources and time and energy on math because it comes naturally to me. Another suggestion I would say is there's a bunch of online resources. You mentioned One Khan Academy, which is excellent. It does have some good tutorials. There's also a lot of study guides that you can purchase online that are really, really good. And they're fairly inexpensive. They're usually like $20 on Amazon or something like that. We do a SAT prep class at the Rosa Parks Youth Program, which I'm a part of. That's free for all our kids. We usually try to max out at maybe 10 to 15 to keep it intimate, and also to make sure the kids really get that one-on-one assistance and help that they need. And we do that 3 to 4 times a year, but that's here in Detroit. But there's usually other organizations that do something similar. So you really have to kind of network and ask parents. And also one thing I was going to really suggest during this time, a lot of people are so afraid of no's that they forget to ask simple questions of other parents, teachers. Do you know of any outside resources that do this? Do you know of anybody that offers that? And our fear of just asking because it may be a no attached to it, we don't ask at all. And somebody has all the information that we have right there. A lot of great relationships literally have just come just because somebody asked. So a lot of times, you know, it really comes out and really going out there, seeing what's in your community, seeing what's near you, to get some of the things that you need.
Yep. Yeah. So thank you. So Anaya, your pathway to become a veterinarian. What's some questions you might have for Devon about that? Give me, I'm a little off because I had to switch rooms.
My question would be like, what colleges are best for that line of business, and how do you apply, like, get to them?
How do you align yourself with them? That's a good question, Anaya. One thing that you want to do, and it kind of goes back to a point I just made about the SAT, is knowing everything that you can about a particular industry. It happened to myself when I first went off to college. I went to school initially when I enrolled at the University of Detroit Mercy. I was engineer major. Well, I didn't necessarily like science, and I wasn't the best at math. So why am I taking engineering courses and all these things where I don't even like them? And a lot of kids pick professions based upon what they heard, maybe what a brother or sister does, or different things that they have. They really have no idea what these people do on a day-to-day basis. They just say, oh, I want to be a doctor, not necessarily knowing what a doctor does or what it takes to be a doctor. Yeah. So once I got to college, I took a course because I went to my counselor and I was just like, this engineering thing ain't working. I'm tanking in all my classes and I'm just not happy. She said, well, let's take this course, and what it's going to do is it's a surveys course, and basically they're going to give you a series of tests to determine what industry you should be in based upon who you are. And I took the class, and it was the best thing that probably happened to me in undergrad because I finally got the career path that I was on, and I was meant for business. So going back to Anaya's point, in question, I was, like I said, know everything that you can know about being a veterinarian before you even decide this is what I want to spend the next 10, 20 years of my life doing. Don't dedicate yourself to something you're not passionate about, interested in, because you're going to waste a lot of time, a lot of emotions, and a lot of money. College is a business at the end of the day. They do not care. If you graduate, they do not care. If you get the degree, it is a business at the end of the day. And so if you're going to take the route of being a veterinarian, which is an amazing opportunity, I would really encourage you to learn everything that you can about the industry before you even decide to go down that path, because you will start to answer some of the questions that you posed to me. Which schools are the best to go to? What do I need to do to put myself in alignment to attend these schools? What type of test scores do I need to have? What type of extracurriculars do I need to have? What type of grades do I need to have? You'll start to answer those questions once you start to really pay attention to the information that's around you about being a veterinarian or whatever industry it is. So like I said, I think I would really kind of start from the backwards and really try to learn as much as you can about what to do, and even try to, visit some clinics. You know what I'm saying? Go talk to some veterinarians about how they spend their day-to-day activities. You know what I'm saying? Maybe go to some colleges or, or some of those schools and really see, you may realize that you have to dissect an animal, you know what I'm saying, to learn about the anatomy of an animal. Well, are you willing to do that? I don't know. I'm not, but maybe you are. So really just trying to know as much about the industry, regardless of what it is really, really key.
Yeah, so Devon, talk a little bit too about the fact you said about grades. So I do hear a lot about the grade points, right? But
Yeah.
there may be some students who are struggling with the fact that they didn't start out as strong and stay as strong through high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do you say to a student whose overall GPA, like their current GPA may be better because they know they're about to graduate, but their overall GPA may not be as equivalent to other students, right? How do they frame a picture of who they really are for universities and for colleges?
Yeah, when you're going through your application process and looking at different schools that you want to attend, you kind of have to look at it from the recruiter standpoint. And just imagine they get a desk of applications from students all around the world all day. So how do you separate yourself from the pack? Yeah. Well, GPA is one of those things. But let's say you don't have the strongest GPA, your test scores. That's another way of doing it. But also your extracurriculars and other things that you've done that other students haven't experienced. So if you're working currently, again, your extracurriculars, different things that really speak about you, the person, not necessarily just the student. And honestly, that's what colleges want, because at the end of the day, they want well-rounded individuals. Do they want smart individuals? Absolutely. But there's a million ways to assess whether someone's smart or not. Just because I'm smart in math doesn't mean, and maybe you're not, that doesn't mean you're dumb. It just means math comes easy to me. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, understanding that there's a way to kind of separate yourself. So focus more, like I said, and some people literally are not the academic types. And I think in terms of college, we don't always need to push 4 years, 6 year, doctor, whatever. There's amazing trades programs in colleges too. And I was blessed enough to be a part of a young man's life. He literally just, and I'm using him as an example because he just wasn't the class academic type. He was just an average C student, and that's okay. He was putting his best foot ever, but he just wasn't the school type. But he just started his first semester at Wayne County Community College here. He's taken up welding. He's already taken up welding in his senior year of high school, and he'll be finished, I believe, in the next week or so. He'll take his finals, he'll get a certificate, and he'll be in the industry and never have to take another class again in a course of 6 months. So when we think, and that all happened on a college campus, so we don't necessarily need to think, we're going to make the most, we're going to make doctors, lawyers, accountants, and so on. There's other trades and professions that come from college campuses too. It's figuring out who you are in this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that you said that because, a lot of kids now, like Victoria at one time was talking about taking a, what'd you call it? Not a sabbatical year, but a gap year, right? And explain what you were planning on doing, Victoria. And this may give some kids ideas, right? But what does a real gap year look like? Not going to college, right? Explain that, Victoria.
Well, I was gonna graduate college and research through the whole year. I was gonna research colleges.
Graduate from high school.
Graduate high school, then research colleges. Because I was planning on moving out of state, so I didn't want to just jump straight and move out of state. Because it's kind of like it just wasn't like what I felt, So I was gonna like get everything transferred, as far as like legal stuff and like short, like all the stuff that you need. And then I was gonna do like programs and summer programs and internships and stuff like that I can find for like my major, my psychology major or dance major, or participate and volunteer at dance studios or my dance school, or participate with my dance team, so that it could be on my resume, or I can put it on my application that I did these things during my gap year, and find scholarships and just get a good like stable like ground to
pathway.
Pathway. And then also I changed my mind from that, because I said I wanted to go to community college. And I actually have a question about community college, because
Absolutely.
Like she was saying, like the people that don't have an overall good GPA, but have a GPA for that specific semester or that specific year. And they have should I go to, I know some seniors or some juniors that are like, I have community college or university, but like, you know, community colleges kind of weighs out more than university. So like, what kind of suggestions would you have for people like that? Like, should I do community college or should I do university or should I do community college for 2 years, or should I do a gap year and then do college, or community college and then college? So what kind of like suggestion or advice would you have for somebody?
Yeah, that's an excellent question and a really good point that you raised. You know, community college can kind of have a negative stigma because it may seem like you couldn't cut it at the university level, or something about your path didn't lead you to the university level. And we really need to clear some things up, because some of the greatest professionals started at the community college level, because one thing about community college versus universities is a huge night and day difference in price. A community college class can cost you $200 or $300, where a university class can cost you $5,000 or $6,000. And they're both math 101. And one of the things that, and I'll give you kind of a simple example just from my own life. I started doing, when I was a junior in high school, I started doing, taking some Saturday classes, college classes, through, I forgot what university at the time. So I'm learning about computers and different robotics and different things like that. And I keep in mind, I went to school for engineering. One of the first classes that I had to take was an intro to computers class, where they taught you like basic Word, basic PowerPoint, so on and so on. Well, I took this class in 11th grade for free. Well, I forgot about that. My mother didn't, but I had already enrolled and started the classes. I paid $3,000 for a class that I've already taken for free. But that's the difference between going to a community college, because all these credits transfer over. So from a financial standpoint, going the community college route is extremely smart, because you'll save thousands of dollars, because usually as a freshman, sophomore, you're not taking your core classes anywhere. You're taking the other classes. You're taking your basic maths, your basic English, your prerequisites. So you're knocking those things out, but you can take prerequisites anywhere. So why pay, again, $3,000 for Math 101 when I can take it for $300 and save thousands of dollars? And again, college is about business. Colleges are businesses at the end of the day. They do not care whether you pass this course, learn anything from this course, whether you show up or not. As long as once you pay, they're fine. They're out. It's all on you from that point on. So understanding that a college degree, I feel, is important, but at the same time, the way you go about getting it can cost you, especially if you do not complete it. It is thousands of people that are in student debt, HELL, because they didn't finish it. Yeah, and it's real. It's a constant, topic of debate. There are presidents that are running on that platform. You know what I'm saying? It's a huge thing for a lot of people. So it's just one of those things that I think it's a really, really smart idea to utilize, even if you have a full ride scholarship, because one of the things they tell you about college, they say, okay, you're going to school for 4 years. Well, it's only 4 years if you take a certain amount of classes at certain times. So if you only take 4 classes a semester, you're going to graduate in 5.5 years. But let's say you take 4 classes in the fall, 4 classes in the spring, and 2 classes at your local community college in the summer, where you've taken 5 classes each semester. So now you're on track to graduate within 4 years. But the difference is you didn't stress yourself out like the other kids that are taking 5 and 6 a semester. So it's like I said, being college really is about being smart financially, especially because it can cost you. I know a lot of kids that started with me that did not finish with me, that are in completely different situations now, because in all honesty, they shouldn't have been there from the very beginning.
Yeah, they should have had a different pathway.
Correct.
So at this time, did one of the young ladies have a question? Oh, I thought I heard one of you. Okay. So thank you, young ladies, so much, Naya, and I would love for you guys to join us again. I know Christina will be having you guys on. Forgive me, I'm looking down because they're on my screen, they're lower. But so thank you so much for joining us, young ladies. Christina will be hosting another show, so with you guys also. And thank you for your feedback. And at this time, I'll have you guys go off, and me and Devon will go ahead and finish out the show with a couple of other steps. So, Devon.
Yes, ma'am.
So outside all this wonderful, fabulous stuff you're doing with young people, there's another component that you will. Are you ready to introduce that, or am I jumping the gun?
No, I've been I've been a personal trainer as well. It's become a passion of mine. Literally by accident. Bernita, I don't know if I've ever shared this story with you, but I'll make it brief and concise. I was involved in a car crash with my family. We were on my way to me and my son went on my way to get our haircuts. My wife was just tagging along for the ride. And we ended up getting T-boned by an oncoming driver right at the intersection. None of us were seriously hurt, but I ended up suffering some injuries to my left shoulder. And I go to my doctor. He says, you have a partial tear in your rotator cuff. You have two options. You can go under the knife, or you can go to 6 weeks of physical therapy. I've never had a surgery, still haven't had one to this day. I wasn't planning on starting that day, so I said, give me the 6 week of therapy. I've never been to therapy. I did take my grandma a few times, so I kind of had an idea of what I thought it was. I started my first therapy session. I had on like normal, because I was going to work afterwards, so I had on like business casual clothes. I ended up having to go home because I was there for an hour and a half, and I sweated through everything that I had on. I was just in really bad shape. In addition to a lot of the movements that he had me doing, my physical therapist had me doing, I just wasn't ready for it. So the next time I went back to physical therapy, I had on workout clothes and full attire. And going through the therapy process, what it did for me is it gave me the discipline to do something 2 to 3 times a week. To get a certain amount of results over time. And I just kind of kept it up from there. So once I finished my therapy, my shoulder was completely healed. I would do things around the house, lift weights, push-ups, whatever I had. I would go to the park across the street, jog a little bit. I was used to doing something for an hour, a few times a week, and I just wanted to keep that pattern up. And it just blossomed and grew and grew and grew. I'm happy to say I've lost over 100 pounds naturally, never had any surgery, pills, or anything. And seen a number of issues go away, such as high blood pressure, which is prevalent in the African-American community. It seems like every African-American is born with high blood pressure like day one. But it's just the way we were raised and brought up, the things that we introduce to our food, to our children as early as, they can start eating. So I really wanted to help some other people during that transition, because it's difficult. And I'm not going to say it was an easy time. And the real reason I really wanted to get my certificate is to back up not only my own experiences, but I really wanted to have the education and knowledge behind it to see why people struggle. Why do I keep hitting roadblocks? Because that was for me. Yeah, I lost 100 pounds, but Bernita, it took me almost 4.5 years to do so. So you're talking about a long period of time, because now I'm working out consistently, but I'm hitting walls and I'm getting frustrated because I'm checking the scales every other day and nothing's changing. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and nothing's changing. But I'm working, I'm making sacrifices, and it's just not happening for me. So I really wanted to get the answers to why I started hitting certain roadblocks, so I could help other people speed that along.
Yeah. So thinking about that, so you're planning on doing this with young people also, to introduce this earlier to our young people in the African-American community, right? Where do you see yourself going with that briefly? And then I got one more question, then we're going to get off. Nice.
Yeah, I definitely plan on doing a lot of summer, if we're going to have a summer. But my first was going to be, just going to have some drop-in mini camps where you can bring your son or daughter out for an hour or two. We can get a workout in. My whole plan with involving children in activity was to get kids moving again. I live in the inner city of Detroit, and I literally when it's nice out and before the quarantine, it may be 1 or 2 kids riding a bike. Our blocks are crowded because most kids are inside gaming or they're inside doing some other activity. They're on their phones and handheld, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not the only thing. So I really want to get kids back moving, get back to kids playing simple games, tag, relay races, things like that. So I really want to create a platform where a mom or dad for a fair amount of money, maybe $3 to $5, can drop their child off, know they're going to be safe, know they're going to have a healthy snack or a beverage, and know they're going to get some physical activity in a safe environment and have some fun doing it, where they can bring their cousins, you know what I'm saying, some of their school friends. They can, you know, hey, mom, I want to meet my son's best friend is Ahmad. He calls his mom, hey, can Ahmad meet me at my dad's camp so we can work out and hang out on a Saturday? Absolutely. It's something positive, and I don't think it's a lot of stuff like that going on where we just use our inner city parks, because most inner cities have amazing, big, huge parks that we're just not utilizing because, you know, who wants to go there by themselves, or who wants to just go there with my brother? We've been playing around all day in the house. We can just stay here. So just trying to put together a nice platform where we can have some, you know, interesting games, have some fun, and introduce some fitness while we're at it, and hopefully kids keep it up.
Okay. So, so you're on social media right now. You are on Facebook, I think just about every day, posting something about your workouts, right? Mm-hmm. So where can people go to find those workouts, or even to just watch you and maybe get some tips on some things they can do in their home, or, you know, or outside in the yard, whatever?
Yeah, I actually brought one with me, but just to give my information, again, my name is Davon Man. You can find me at that on Facebook. My Instagram, which probably has far more workouts and videos and things like that, is Man, MANN, Fit, FIT, and then IG. So Man Fit IG is my Instagram handle. Is that a handle? Is that what we call that? But that's where I'm at on Instagram. Like I said, you can find a lot of my workouts, and I'm very free with the information because I've been blessed with a number of trainers and a lot of people that have supported me during this journey, because it's not easy. But at the same time, if you give it that consistency, and that's what most people do, like most people honestly aren't consistent at anything that matters. So I'm just really trying to encourage people, just try, give me something, do something, whether it be walking, especially now with the quarantine. It's a lot of depression, a lot of negative emotions are really taking over because people can't even go out. And Lord knows, don't live in Detroit because every day it's gray and 40 degrees.
Right.
But
no sunny sky.
Right. So you know, once things improve with the quarantine and things starting to flatten out, things will be better. But during this time, you have to find, and kind of like our discussion earlier, you have to find creative ways to do stuff. So, you know, looking at that case of water that you brought in from Walmart because it's essential, that may be the thing that you need to lift 3-4 times to create your next curl set or whatever the case may be. So thinking about some of the things that you know, the simplest workouts can be done with a chair. But I did want to show this one particular item. It's a dice. It's a fitness dice that I got from Five and Below. It's like $3, I think. You can get it online, shipped to your house, and it just has exercises on them. It's some, you know, 15 jumping jacks, 10 push-ups, 10 burpees, all these exercises you can look up online if you're not familiar with what a burpee is. But rolling
show
this
that a little closer to the screen for people. Yeah. Wow. Okay. But and they just roll the dice, and whatever you come up with, that's what you got to do.
Yep. And this is one of the things that I use with children, especially at some of the camps that I've created. What I'll do is I may lead the first 20 to 30 minutes of the workout. Then I give the kids these. I break them up into smaller groups, and now they're going to tailor based upon how many people are in that group. That's how many, because everybody's going to get a chance to roll the dice. Ooh, so if it's five groups of 5 kids, 25 kids total, you know, each kid is going to run. So that's an extra 5 minutes and extra 5 sets of whatever exercise that kid rolls. And every kid, the cool thing about it, it does have a water break on here. So I tell them that, so the kid wants to be the lucky kid that rolls the water break because we can
stop. Let's get some water.
Yep. So, and if they get the water break, they go over to the water section and get their water break. So it's about making it fun at the end of the day, where you can really enjoy yourself with a group of people or by yourself. I use this still to my day when I'm just like, I don't feel like planning, or I don't want to be led. I don't want to go to a class. I'll pull this out, I'll roll it, and I just do whatever it says. And even if you have some restrictions medically where you can't do maybe 10 push-ups, can you do 2? Can you do 3? Give me what you got.
Can you do some push-ups off the wall? Because that's what I've been doing lately since I had my arm surgery. Yep. Yeah.
Making it modified and safe.
Go ahead.
No, making it modified and safe is the best way, because we don't want to cause any injuries. But, just figuring out ways to get active and really have some fun.
Yes. Thank you so much, Devon. I really do appreciate you joining me. We gonna get this Zoom and this Be Live together. All these glitches, so forgive me. I know the whole world is having glitches on Zoom and Be Live, right?
Everybody's on there.
Right, everybody's on it. It's a million people broadcasting their lives and their world. So thank you again, Devon. I will invite you back soon. Maybe we could get some young people together to go on Zoom and do some exercises with you next time or something.
Yeah, we can do like a online 5-10 minute thing. Put it all together. It'll be fun.
Okay. Maybe I can do my push-ups off the wall.
Yeah, and I'll show you how to properly modify. And that's kind of the luxury of having a personal trainer. They can customize stuff for you, specifically for you. So that's the blessing about having it. But either way, figuring out how to do things safely and more importantly, just getting active, doing something, whether it be 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, whatever it is for you.
Yes, thank you. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you again to Victoria and Anaya for joining us. Thank you for all the wonderful information. This is Bernita Bradley again signing off of The Aparent Voice. Please let us know who you'd like on the show next time or anytime coming up, right? This Friday, we will have Black male educators on our show. And I have a wonderful honor of introducing Wayman Hayes, who I've had the honor to work along with for the last probably about 5 or 6 years. And please join us this Friday at 4:00 on National Parents Union and The Aparent Voice.